guys, it's Kelly here and I'm back with another video. Today's video is featuring some products from Pink Fresh. I'm using the fancy diagonal stripe cover plate, the washi tape for the whimsical blooms, as well as the dies. I thought I was going to use the Celebrate one as well, but I didn't end up using the washi. I just ended up using the sentiments to make some birthday cards. And then I also used the blanket stitch and the diagonal stitch circles. So here, if you're not familiar with their washi, there's actually a whole instructional video over on the Pink Fresh channel, which I will link below if you're interested in that. I typically don't work with a ton of washi just because it is, I like to color my own images, but I will say if you need a really beautiful card fast with a minimal effort, like this is the way to go for sure, because they're already beautifully colored. So here I had a full piece that was like at the end of my roll, which is actually the start of the whole pattern. So in order to make sure that I didn't waste that, I just put it on another piece, and now I can take a half sheet of paper, and you can see I'm rolling it out and using my bone folder to smooth it down to make sure I don't get any air bubbles. And then this way I can get the full piece that matches up with the die cut. And then I can, just fold that back over on the roll, and, I'll have more to cut out another day. So I'm actually going to create 2 cards using the same exact products, just with 2 different looks. And like I said, if you're looking for the instruction on that, I will link it below. That is over in the Pink Fresh channel. However, for this video, we are here for story time. And our story time is about story time. So you guys know, if you have been to my channel before, or if you've been with me for a long time, that one of the ways that when I first started out with my channel, one of the things that was different about my channel than everybody else's was story time. And that's because I didn't want to fill my videos with music, like a lot of creators were doing at that time. But I also could not continually say, and we're going to blend this here and we're going to add shading here. I was just repeating myself because coloring takes a long, long time. And so story time became that filler. Story time also allows us to create that connection, which, forms our relationships. And I really, really love that aspect. And I do feel like that is missing. So we've, kind of talked as things have changed. Originally I started out just as a hobbyist card maker, and this was my de-stress from my job, which was being a full-time police, fire, EMS dispatcher. And so I would come home and I would color, and it would help me kind of, de-stress from my day. And then I started getting on some design teams, and then really enjoyed teaching, really enjoyed teaching other people. And so I was, starting to teach for other companies and things. And I've always said that I wanted to do my own classes, which I have not been able to do yet, even though in 2022, I quit dispatching full time in order to do this full time, and still be able to pay my bills. And obviously I could not do that without the support of my wonderful family. But so here we are. And, when I made that switch over from being somebody who just did it on the side, working with companies that I loved, to switching over to this being my full-time job and how I paid my bills, I wasn't really sure the best way to go about it. And I think that I leaned really heavy into the teaching of things versus the story time, because I wanted you to feel like you were getting something, you were getting instruction here on my channel. But also because, again, just being fully transparent, also because since I'm working from home now, I don't have as much story time. I'm not going out into the world like I was before. I'm not having the same experiences, with other people. Pretty much the only people I see right now are my family. Like that's it. I just see my family, like both my immediate family and like my sisters, my mom, all of that stuff. So I don't necessarily have as much story time as maybe I used to. So that, I'm putting out more videos than I ever have before. I have less stories than I ever have before. And, I want you guys to learn something from the channel. So I leaned definitely more into the instruction, and then several of you guys were like, hey, I really miss story time. And like, I get it. I totally do, because like I said, that relationship piece is really important to me. And I also feel like that's missing. So that's how we came up with this one that we're doing here, which is, I named it, I Made a Pretty Card, and story time, which would allow me to just chit chat with you guys, reestablish that connection. And then, you guys would still be able to see the video, on the other, on the business's channel to get instruction. So I wasn't shortchanging you on the instruction, but I was still able to connect with you guys to through story time. Side note, we're going to go back to the card. So here you can see that I'm masking these and, adding the colors as I'm going. Something that you do need to be aware of is see how I'm kind of switching around the tape. So that right hand side has the purple and the left hand side has the green. If you are going to do what I'm doing, where you're just going through and using a bunch of different colors. If you're using the same color, you don't have to worry about it. But if you're using a bunch of different colors, you do need to be aware that you can pick up some of the other color, because the tape, mine is the Pixie tape, it's a low-tack tape, is not porous. So that ink is just sitting on top waiting for you to pick it back up. So that can make your yellows a little green or your purples and greens a little brown, things like that. So just be aware, even if you're if you're using the Eclipse masking tape or the Post-it note tape, or in this case, low tack tape, you want to make sure that you have enough of the tape so that you're not continually using the same pieces and picking up color that you don't want. So anyway, okay. So now, that's kind of where we've been at. I talked to you in the beginning of the year about how I wanted to do the classes online. And when I went to Crop on the Cape, which is in March, I can't even believe we're at the end of the year. Where's the year even gone? But anyway, so that I wanted to, I had those kits left over, and I asked you guys, well, would you want to do, those classes where we did a video or a live event, and you could either buy the kit. I only have, a limited amount of them, or, I could give you the information for what would be in the class. And so, there's an option to buy the kit with the kit, and that is a limited option because I only have so many kits made. And turns out I don't really like kitting, so I'm not making any more. It was a whole family affair. But then, there would also be the option to just buy the class. And I am going to go ahead and do that. It's just taken me a really long time to get it together because there's always something. There's always something that comes up. So the first one that I'm going to do is the honeybee class. And that one I'll put out the information probably here in the next couple of weeks. So that way, you have time to get your kit and everything before the class. So please let me know if you would prefer it to be a watched video, a video that's edited and you just watch it, or if you would prefer for it to be live. Obviously, if you miss the first round, and we do even if we decide on a live and then we, it's done and it's over with, then if you purchase the class afterward, it would then just be an edited video. So that's something that I would like some information from you guys on. The mystery boxes, I do have mystery boxes, and again, these are going to be something that's a limited number of them. And originally, I thought that I would do like, $25, $50, 75, 100, like something like that. So there was, kind of all these different options. But as it turns out, like talking to my website people and then figuring out, what we would need to do on our end for pricing and shipping, that's really not manageable. And so talking to some of the other crafters that I know that I'm friends with that have done them is how I got to where I'm at, which is doing them all in a medium-sized priority shipping box. So like the shipping is already covered; they're all the same. And then they will be. The price point is quite a bit higher, and I understand that's not going to work for everybody, but this is just what is manageable for us right now. So they'll be like a well over $300 in product into each of the boxes, and it can vary from stamps, dies. I will say this time around, I'm not going to put in any of the hot foil items. Because that I will have to list separately, because I don't want you to buy a mystery box and end up with a hot foil plate if you don't have the means to use it. Like that would be terribly disappointing. And so I will have to do a separate one for that with the hot foils. But anyway, they'll be $150 for like well over $300 worth of product, and the shipping will be included. So it will just be the straight $150. So that is that. And for that, I mentioned that to you guys, I think a bit more recently. I will be putting it out onto the website. Same thing with the other class. So if you have not been over to my website, you would want to go over there and, sign up so that way you're notified. Also, several people have said that they have had issues in the past with logging in. And I did talk to my website people about that, and hopefully that issue has been resolved. So you should be back on the list for, like the don't miss a thing, getting the emails, and also getting the registration, being able to be logged in. So that's that. And what else? The mystery boxes. Oh, for the mystery boxes, I think I told you guys this before, I will be sharing the link to that in the first 24 hours. I will be sharing that in the it says tip jar. It's like down in the YouTube description, which is the buy me a coffee. And that is where people, even still, like leave little tips, and it helps me monetarily to be able to continue doing what I'm doing. But also that is where everybody made donations back when I wasn't sure if I could afford Molly's ACL surgery. And so I will be giving those people kind of first dibs at the mystery boxes. And then after that first 24 hours, I will go ahead and make it live so that everybody else can, purchase them if they would like. But again, that's going to be a limited number. Those obviously will be refilled as I fill more boxes. I have never done a destash kind of situation before. So I have stuff from everywhere. Like I have stuff that's old. I have old Stamptember stuff. I have new Stamptember stuff. I have, some W+9. I have, some older Simon Says stamps, since I don't, work with them anymore. So there's a ton of stuff. There's ink pads, there's, papers, there's paints, there's some embellishments. So it just depends on, kind of but always the stamps and dies are paired together unless they're a standalone. Not every company has dies for their stamps, and not every die is a coordinating die. Some of them are standalone. So I do try, if they are in a set, I try to pair them together. You're not going to get just a die that has no stamp set to match it. Because that would drive me crazy if I was buying a mystery box. So that is going on with that. Now let's talk about the plan going forward. The plan going forward is is what I really do want. I want your feedback about everything. Like, I mean, about the mystery boxes, about the classes. I always want you guys to feel like you can give me your input. There was a while, I don't know, it was a while back, and I try not to like point them out when they happen, but there was a lady, I shouldn't even say a lady because it just said user and it was very generic, but had made the comment on one of my YouTube videos about how it was always all about me, and I couldn't take any constructive criticism, which I find comical because hers was not constructive, or his was not constructive criticism. It was just being rude, which there's a huge difference. But anyway, I do want your feedback. I do want to know what works for you guys, what your thoughts are on the things, because, we're kind of in this together. I want you to come here and not just, I do want you to learn. Of course, I want you to learn things. I want you to learn things, and I want you to see things differently. And I want you to be able to stretch your stash to get more from your want. But I also want you to be able to come here and know, that you're welcome, and you're finding a friend, and for us to, keep that connection. So here is what I'm thinking, and please, let me know. I think that I would like to go back to the setup that I had for the first, 5 years, 7 years it was, of my videos, where we do talk about teaching, and we do learn new things, but it is amongst the story time. And I know that that's not going to fit everybody's preference, but that's okay, because I also understand that my videos are not going to be for everybody. You have all these different wonderful, amazing creators that do different things. Like my friend Wendy, she's super talented. And she loves the fun folds. And, so if you're a person who loves fun folds, like, I go check out Wendy Cranford, because she's making so much good stuff with her little fun folds. That's not the kind of card maker that I am. Jennifer, I mean, obviously the goat of the industry, right? Jennifer McGuire, she has an engineer's brain. And so she figures all these different ways to use things and engineer them. And, yes, she has some fun folds, but then she also has some, other techniques, and she's so endlessly talented, and her is amazing. So you have like all these people in the industry. Dawn watercolor, like, forget about it. I have not found somebody in the card making industry that is better, or a better teacher about it than Dawn. Debbie Hughes is also an amazing watercolorist, but she doesn't do videos, I don't think, anymore. But anyway, so I just think that my thing is, having that connection. It's the coloring and being able to teach that. I mean, I hope that I'm, still doing that well, and you guys aren't disappointed with that. But it's also, sharing my life with you, and you guys, sharing through the comments and things like that, sharing your life with me as well. And so I would like to get back to doing more of that. Please give me your feedback. I want to know how you feel about that, because this channel is, just like everything else, time marches on. Everything is, growing and changing. And, maybe the majority of the audience I have now is not necessarily that much into story time. I don't know. But I do read your comments, even though I don't always get to reply to them. And I apologize, because there's only so many hours in the day. But I do read your comments, and I have seen several, I miss story time, type of comments. And so, I do too. I miss story time too. So that's just something, or if you have another suggestion, if you're thinking like, hey, I do miss story time, but I also want the instruction, if you have something there where you want to, make a suggestion, I'm here for that as well. I I will tell you that like the classes, the paid class content, that's, of course, my personality will still be present because I'm still me. Like I just am who God made me. But that will not include the story time. Like somebody who comes, and purchases the class, I presume is coming to purchase instruction. So while they'll still get a little bit of my, personality in the way that I explain things or the way that I teach things versus other people, that type of stuff is not going to include story time. I just think, as a consumer, that's not what I would want. I would want somebody to just, to the best of their ability, teach me what I need to know. And so that's that. I think that's all I really had to cover. Please let me, I know it was a lot of information. I know it was a lot. I know the story time about story time was a lot. But I think that this will probably, unless you guys come in with like a drastically different opinion, this will probably be the last I made a pretty card and story time, because we're just going to go back to having story time in our regular videos. Now, of course, the videos that I am hired to do for other people's channels, like those obviously would be different. And that's why, like this video here, this video came out on Pink Fresh Studios channel probably like a month ago. I don't know. It's probably like a month ago, truly, just because I haven't had story time in such a long time. There's been a lot going on in my personal life. But anywho, that instruction will still be there. It will just be in a different place. And I, of course, will always guide you over there to watch it. Some of them will be the same, like other companies that I've worked with, that they never minded if I did story time in my videos for their channel as well. But we'll just have to see how it goes. But unless things are, like I said, truly completely different point of view, I think this will be the last one. So thank you guys so much for joining me. Please leave your honest feedback below. I would really appreciate it. And I appreciate your time, and I will catch you on the next video. Bye.